The purpose of Wealth Talk is to educate, inform, and hopefully entertain you on the subject of building your wealth. WealthBuilders recommends you should always take independent financial, tax, or legal advice before making any decisions around your finances.
Welcome to episode 132 of Wealth Talk. My name's Christian Rodwell, the Membership Director for WealthBuilders, and I'm joined today by our founder, Mr. Kevin Whelan. Hi, Kevin.
Hello, Chris, and great to be with you again.
Yeah, nearly at the end of the year, and wow, really getting through these podcasts now, aren't we? So it's been a delight again to serve our listeners this year and have so many great guests, and we're nearly at the end, but today we want to pick up actually on a topic that's really kind of been so important throughout the year, especially the last couple of weeks. And that's really around connections and community. And a couple of weeks ago, we had Sean Ferguson, co-founder of For Business, talking about the importance of building those deep relationships in a way that he does it quite uniquely, which is on the golf course. So,
very interesting to combine, his passion for connecting, but doing it in an unusual way. And I think sometimes people need a little bit of help because networking isn't the most naturally fun thing to do, particularly if you're in a room full of people and, you're there on your own, let's say, and, you're not feeling it's perhaps your natural domain. And we all have different wealth dynamics. Some people are very strong on Blaze, that sort of people orientation, that connection, you can see that. But, you can still do an incredible job of networking if you can make it a little easier for yourself. And some while ago, I think we alluded to it, didn't we, in the
we did.
in the episode with Sean, I think.
You dropped it at the end of that episode, something called the Bbq Technique. And a few people have been asking, what is this Bbq Technique? So we thought we'd share a bit more today. Yeah,
well, the Bbq Technique is really quite simply a frame of reference. As you know, I'm a teacher, Chris, and I love a good acronym or something that helps us to remember things. And the barbecue, the B, and the Q has got nothing to do with the summer. It's got nothing to do with the steak. By the way, we had an incredibly nice steak last night, didn't we?
We certainly did. We certainly did.
We celebrated, and we had some nice wine, and the three of us had a really enjoyable big steak dinner, so that was a good celebration for us as we.
Paul Brooks being the third one there.
Third, yeah, and in fact, we should get Paul on the podcast a bit more often, shouldn't we? Really?
Yeah. New Year's resolution.
Yeah, he's got a lot to say. Anyway, I digress. So the idea behind the Bbq Technique is to make it easy for you when you're networking, so that instead of being uncomfortable reaching out to people, you make it easy to be the magnet that attracts people to you. So wouldn't you like to know more about that?
Oh, certainly would.
Okay. Well, the B, this is a great one, is called the book. The book. What I mean by the book, Chris, is carry with you a book. A book, ideally, you've read or are reading, and it's got something to do, that would arouse the curiosity of someone. And you hold it, almost you imagine, you hold it with the book cover facing outwards, so that you're kind of walking with the book in full view. And have a guess what's going to happen.
I think it's going to raise some curiosity, some comments.
Exactly. So, what's that you're reading? And, so if you find a good book you like, a book you want to share, we're all good about sharing things. So, we share about movies. Why not share about books and say, it's a great book. For example, it could be Donald Miller's Story Brand, or it could be Rich Dad, Poor Dad, it could be my book. It doesn't really matter what book. What matters is that you're holding it in a way that makes it easy for someone to reach out to you and say, what's that you're reading? So people can't help themselves. They'll be very curious. So that's the book. Very easy and not at all, actually, difficult to get hold of something that you're fascinated by. Right. The next one, called the badge, but you can also make it the bold. What I mean by the badge or the bold is a long time ago, Chris, I always used to wear the 7 pillars of wealth badge. It's like the logo of the 7 assets. And I'd pin that to my suit. And again, people would say, what's that? It looked a bit like the Bank of England. And so that always aroused a bit of curiosity as well. So, you could do that. So wear something that is naturally eye-catching. Now, it doesn't have to be a badge. It doesn't have to be anything, that's pinned to you, but it could be a style of dress. So another thing that I've been known to do is wear shirts with different color buttons. And that always gets a comment. So, if you can find something that would attract the eye in a positive way, then, people will start raising, points about that as well. So that's the next one. Something bold. It could be a scarf. It could be, as I say, it could be a badge. It could be anything at all that attracts the eye. Have you ever done that, Chris?
I can't say I have actually, but I know what you mean. Just some people have a color, right? And they might always wear that color as a pair of socks or a belt, or as you say, something that stands out. Yeah.
Yeah. And I've seen people do it. I've seen, one guy always wears yellow. I've seen another guy always wears a sort of like a burgundy color, everything he does, even his shoes. I think there's one group where all the guys wear kind of stripy shirts. It could be anything that you be comfortable in your own skin, but it's just an idea to sort of soften the process of making connections. But the real power behind the Bbq technique is the cue, and the cue is the question. So, which is why it kind of reminded me when Sean was talking about things, and I played golf with Sean, and he was always very open and asking really good questions, but what the question that I like to ask is, and this is one you could have a little practice with, is, people come to networking meetings for a reason, don't they? They come to meet someone. So if your question was, if you could meet one person that would make a difference to you tonight, that one person, who would that one person be? Now, notice it's not about you. Notice you're not asking them to find somebody for you. You're curious about who they have come to this networking meeting to meet. And the purpose of doing that is you focus entirely on them. And if they say, well, I'm really looking for an architect. In fact, literally the other day, it was a networking event, but somebody reached out to me, Chris, and said, Kevin, can you help me out? And I said, what's up? He said, I've got this building. It's in a high street in the home counties. And my builder, who's demolished this building, has completely let me down. So in other words, he's on a building site and he doesn't have a contractor. And it's like, well, what do you need? He said, I need a contractor who knows this area really well. And, what can you do to help? And I just reached out into the community. And within 2 hours, I'd found 3 people, all of whom I connected to this guy. Now, I will follow up to make sure that he gets the result he wants. But the community will rally to you if you're always thinking about, how do I serve somebody else? And by serving somebody else, and it doesn't matter whether in that case you wouldn't know anybody, 3 builders in home counties in one particular town, but if they say, hey, I need an architect, then, you've got 2 things to do. Number one is when you're talking to others and say, what do you do? If they're an architect, you can immediately, I know somebody's looking right, and you can connect people, and that's a good thing to do. And I'm often seen in networking meetings kind of dragging people by the arm to go and talk together. Or alternatively, you start to build your own version of the little black book. Now, I've got a very big black book now, but the little black book is your book of people that you want to connect. So, some who want a connection. So you go, well, Fred's looking for an architect. So if you're really skillful at this, and if you're passionate about driving value, you'd find an architect. You'd just find one. You'd reach into your own community on a quiet moment. You'd maybe look on LinkedIn, and then you just make a connection. And when you do that, and when you focus on other people, and if you imagine you did that 5, 10, 15 times in the course of a networking evening, perhaps, and you made those connections, just imagine the power of the deposits you're making emotionally with people. what I call the emotional bank account. You're making a deposit. You're not making withdrawal. You're constantly building deposits in relationships with people. And if you can do that, and that's what Sean was saying that he always tries to do, I think what it does is creates the power of a wow. Because people will go, wow, you did that for me, So if you can do that, and you can imagine then if you're going to a networking meeting and the only result you're going to get is you're going to wow people, right? And we love wows at Wealth Builders, don't we, Chris? We talk about it with our team all the time. And in a minute, I'll mention the things that really are powerful and make people have a wow. But that's the Bbq Technique. So it's the book, open and facing. It's the badge or some kind of bold thing that people will mention and make comment of. And it's the question. And if you do that, you will get the result back that you're seeking. And I encourage anybody to give that a little try. See what you think. What do you reckon, Chris?
Yeah, I like it. I like the wows because I remember, obviously, we haven't been networking that much for a while, but so often you swap the business cards and you have a little chat with someone and you never ever hear from them again, do you? And it's a bit disappointing. So when someone actually does follow up and actually does do what they say we're going to do, it really sticks in your mind. And as you say, you don't want to be trying too hard. And Sean said that point as well, you need to just kind of be doing it naturally, but just make it a habit, just always be looking out for that opportunity to help people. So yeah, I think that's a nice, easy way for people to kind of just feel a bit more comfortable about walking into that networking room. And as you say, attracting the questions rather than sort of feeling awkward about having to go up and start initiating conversations with other people.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
So, and one of the things that we talk about in our own team, when we ask people, we kind of play a little game in there, and we ask our team to go above and beyond all the time and to regularly go above and beyond. And we try and make it easy by giving them some, what we call a step to follow, Chris. Nice, easy step. Another one of those analogies coming, or another one of those, not analogy, it's an acronym, of course. So S is for speed. So if you're going to do something, do it quickly, because speed wows people. If you promise to do something or you say you're going to do it, you can do it fast, then people will go, wow, and they literally do that. So we want speed. The other thing we like is the use of technology. Technology can wow as well, because it gives people an experience, doesn't it? E is the ease, and ease of use. We're always trying to make things easier, less problematic, less form filling, that kind of thing. And of course, the P, which is personalize everything. So we ask our team to write down words that people use or key things that they said, like I'm just coming back from a holiday in Barbados or whatever, then you can make reference to that. So you're constantly just being interested in what people are up to rather than just focusing on work. And I think it's a very powerful thing. So we love wows at Wealth Builders. We like to try and do it. Not everybody's perfect at it, of course, but and we like the Bbq Technique because it's always externally focused. Focus on them, not on you.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thanks for sharing that, Kevin. And, we're on the topic of community, and, we've really been delighted again at the stories and successes within our own WealthBuilders community this year, the WealthBuilders Academy that we launched in the summer. And we've had a review actually this week from one of our members, and I'll read it out. And all sounds like we get fantastic reviews, but we do, don't we? We don't get any bad ones. So, we're so grateful for that. But this one's from Andromeda. It says, Wealth Builders is brilliant. I joined Wealth Builders just over 6 months ago. At that time, I knew I wanted to be financially independent, but I felt rudderless. I happened upon Kevin Whelan talking on Clubhouse and had to check out what Wealth Builders was all about. And I'm happy I did. Now I have a plan and I know where I'm going. I created this with help from my wealth coach, and there's a big emphasis on education. And I spent most of those initial 6 months learning as much as I could about my pillar and strategies. And one of the best bits of the program is being held accountable for taking steps forward month in and month out. And when I look back on what I have achieved, I'm astounded. I've got my will, my LPAs, and my insurance is all in place. I feel like an adult now. Plus, the community is incredible. So supportive, warm, and helpful.
That's a wow.
I think wow, just reading that back. Yeah. So thank you, Andromeda. Yeah.
And these are heartfelt words from, I love the fact she refers to herself as an adult now, and she was rudderless, but she's now got a plan. And that's really what we're about, aren't we, really? We kind of completely obsess about just trying to give people a track, a step-by-step process to follow so that it doesn't become overwhelming, which most people, when they get stuck in trying to create wealth, and it really isn't all that hard. 5 years for most people of putting things in place that then, with the support of accountability and a community, it can keep you going when life throws a curveball at you, when you can easily get distracted or derailed. And I love the idea that, she's feeling that. And this is a consistent theme that runs through our reviews. And these are just genuine people saying genuine things. And you said, we got fantastic reviews, and of course we have. But we've had one or two, I think one maybe, who wasn't so happy, and I think we touched on that once before, and we learned a lesson from that. We try and get better. Somebody didn't get exactly what they want. Two things happen. One is we give everybody 60 days in the program to test it, don't we? And if it's not a good fit for them, they get the money back. And number two, if we ever make a mistake, we want to learn from it and admit it. And I think we've done that. So I'm very happy with the direction of travel for Wealth Builders and what we're trying to build, which is a community of our own, a wealth speaking community of 50,000 people. We've written that into our mission. We're boldly going where others fear to tread. And, I was just up at St. James's Park at Newcastle United when we got our first win. I took my eldest son. He and I went up there. So, that means nothing, I suppose, to people in different countries. But it's a football team, and I'm very passionate about that. So I went up there, which is about, it's a 350-mile trip there and a 350-mile trip back. And we stayed there for the weekend, saw our first win of the season. It was like winning a trophy. We had to celebrate just one win. But every time I go there, and I see there were 52,000 people in the crowd, I just still get a buzz. I get a little kind of almost like goosebumps, thinking that me, you, and Paul are on a mission to help 50,000 people, as many people in a football stadium, to become financially independent. And you can only do that with the help and support of a growing community who feel the integrity of what we're about. And, I'm sorry I'm on my soapbox, but this is what this podcast is all about, is to nudge somebody who's listening off the sort of just nudging them towards doing something as opposed to just being entertained and listening to something. Because wealth comes from doing, not from listening. But sometimes, the whole value of things like podcasts, and actually we mentioned Clubhouse there, met Andromeda in Clubhouse. And, she asked a question when I was running a Clubhouse room. Go to Clubhouse. If you're not naturally loving the whole kind of live in rooms networking, you don't fancy the Bbq technique, go to Clubhouse, because, Clubhouse is a place where you can join in the networking with others and you can be anonymous. You can listen, you could soak things up. And if you want to say something, you can, but you don't go on screen or anything. It's simply your voice. And so a very powerful thing. And Clubhouse has definitely been a gift to the networking community. And there are many fantastic rooms. So check out Clubhouse.
Yeah, and go and follow Wealth Builders, of course, when you're there, and follow Kevin. But, it's the end of the year. It's always a time for reflection, Kevin. Some people will look back this year and be really happy with their achievements, and others will think, oh, there's another year gone by. Where's the time gone? Nothing's changed. I'm still in that same position I was 12 months ago. So, if you're in that position now and you feel like next year is the time for change, and you think that Wealth Builders might be able to help you in that change, then do go and check out the Wealth Builders Academy, wealthbuilders.co.uk/academy. Go and see all the details there, find out everything about what we do, hear, testimonials, watch videos, and get in touch with us. If you want to have a chat, we'll jump on the phone and we'll see if there's something that we can do to help you in 2022.
And actually, if you've got a suggestion, if you're listening to the podcast, and it'd be good to know, have you taken any action? Was there a particular episode that you did something? Were you rudderless like a dromedar, and you've now taken some steps and you've turned into a wealth building adult? What have you done? And talk about adults, Chris. We're so excited about next year too, aren't we? With the Wealth Builders for Families. I can't. I'm like a kid myself, thinking about we've got that wonderful combination of a team now with myself on the finances, and we've got a children's author lined up, and we've got a teacher, of course, involved in how to get the message across hopefully in schools in due course, because they don't teach finance at schools, and we're so keen to get this message out and help our wealth builder families, not just the adults, but to get the message across on how to include and immerse and involve the children in discussions and in games and in trips and in ideas. And we're starting to build up a whole raft of case studies now of some fantastic things that our members and other people are doing to bring the money subject off the taboo list onto the to-do list. And I think that's a fascinating thing. And we're looking forward to some incredible PR, hopefully, next year as we launch that program and get that out into the wider world. So if you're a parent and you want to bring that money into the family home and have discussions and look at the best practice and feel like you can be a teacher, and we're going to be helping you to become a better teacher of the subject of money. And we need it because there's trillions and trillions of pounds, both in this country and other countries, which will be passing from the baby boomers like me onto the next generation. And so many of our children, they don't hear about money. They don't talk about money. It's not raised as a subject and discussed at home. We want to change that so that the wisdom can gradually be absorbed and passed, so that the next generation inherit the money or inherit the use of the money, which we talk about in our family charters. But anyway, inherit the use of the money, but with wisdom and with stewardship, not with this feeling of entitlement that, dad's died, well, I get a whole load of money and I'm going to go and spend it. That doesn't do anything for society. That just does bad things for our children as well. So yeah, if you're interested in that, let us know. And just we're looking for people who can tell us what they're doing with their children. Other thing we'll probably do next year, Chris, sorry, I'm dropping this on you, is to have an ask the team question. So if you've got a question, you could raise the question and we can answer the question in the podcast.
Yep.
So if you've got a question, that it's holding you back, something's just not there, something that you need to overcome for your wealth journey to start, or your wealth journey to, if you're stuck somewhere and you want to break through a barrier, then just send us a question and we'll pull out some questions, and just as we we'll often have a member of the month, and we'll talk about their case studies. We'll actually answer questions on the podcast. So yeah, drop us a note if you want to do that. How would they do that, Chris?
Well, at the moment, it's probably easiest just to email hello@wealthbuilders.co.uk, but we'll set up something especially for the podcast in the next few weeks, or certainly ready for the beginning of next year. And we'll build that in as a regular feature. And, through the Wealth Builders Facebook community, our free community as well. That's a great place. If you're not in there already, just search for Wealth Builders on Facebook.
Another great networking place, isn't it? I mean, so many of our members tell us they get help and support when they put a post and say, hi, fellow wealth builders, I need this and I need that. And almost always they get it. And we're in there spotting it anyway to bring our big black book to bear if we need to, Chris. And we've got hundreds and hundreds of trusted, partners, people who have been tried, have been tested, have been through some rigor with us, or due diligence with us. And we try and bring the best people into play and to serve our members. So if you're struggling for something, struggling for someone, the other end of a how question is always a who, because that's what it is. It's always about the who. It's always about the connection. So somebody knows how to solve the problem that you're facing. And if you ask the question, we'll help you find the who. That's what we do.
Indeed. Well, I'm just going to sign off providing one more link, and that's for the Families Program, because every time we mention Families Program, we get loads of people dropping us emails. So we've made that easier for you now. If you'd like to be kept updated when the Families Program is ready for its beta launch, or you've got something you think you could contribute, or some ideas you'd like to talk to us about, then head to wealthbuilders.co.uk/families, FAMILIES.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Yeah.
We'd better sign off for today, I think.
Well, short and sweet today, because it's about community, right? And, next week, I suppose, probably be maybe the last one before we run up, or maybe two more. Who knows, Chris? We'll get some content together ready for the final part of the year, and look forward to a new push in 2022. And hopefully we'll have a chance to network with some of you guys as we head out to events across the country in the UK. And, at some point we'll probably head into some other countries as well. Maybe not in 22, but probably in 2023. We're looking forward to getting our Wealth Builder message and our Wealth Builders for Families message out to the wider world. So if you know somebody that could help us, if you know somebody who's an influencer, somebody who's very passionate about these things as well, let us know, because we're keen to make great connections to help us expand this message. So if it resonates with you, get in touch.
Hit share on your podcast app, share this episode or one of your favorite episodes with someone who perhaps isn't familiar but would enjoy listening as well. So thanks. Hope you enjoyed today's episode. Kevin, we'll catch up same time, same place next week.
Yeah, and so until next time, my friend, see ya.
We hope you enjoyed today's episode. Don't forget that we are constantly updating our resources inside the Wealth Builders membership site to help you create, build, and protect your wealth. Head over to wealthbuilders.co.uk/membership right now for free access. That's wealthbuilders.co.uk/membership.